everyone. It's good to have you all on board. It's another time with Tutor Ayo, the enthusiastic tutor, and in today's tutorial, it happens to be the continuation of the course Part 308, or maybe I should call it the last class we have on the course Part 308. Like I said, this week we are going to be calling in a wrap of the course. Wow, the comment section is buzzing. You can see the comment section is buzzing already. Sorry, we are a bit behind schedule. Okay, so like I said earlier, this week this course we're going to be calling it up this course this week, as we are going to be going through it without wasting time at all. As you can see now, we are taking the course, and we've had some classes on the course already, and we're going to be taking it up from, according to the thumbnail, we're going to be taking it up from what it means by corruption. But before we talk about that, we are going to take it up from where we stop in our last class. Okay, so now, oh, wonderful, thank you very much for that. See in the comment section. So far, talked about government, talked about federalism. We've also talked about democracy, and in our last class, we also talked about why the military gets involved, get entangled with government, why the military gets involved with politics or entangled with politics, and we've also seen the formation, the making up of the Nigerian army. All of this we talked about in our last class, and some of the reasons why we said Nigerian military gets involved with politics is because they have their factors, certain factors are the determinants of these decisions. Factors like foreign influence, the characteristics of the military establishment, socio-economical development, and so on, and so forth. We also have political factors as well, and we were able to talk about the achievement of the Nigerian military, in Nigeria. So when the military gets involved, when military takes over power, what have they been able to achieve so far? They have their reasons, like, okay, civilian government are not doing well, we want to take over, and we believe we can do better. All right, so let's talk about a little bit of their achievements while they were in power. Okay, so to start with, just a moment. Okay. Now, to start with, some of their achievements are they created more states. All right, the military during their era, during the military regime. All right, if it's a civilian government now, it's during the administration of the during the administration led by Bola Tinubu, which is the incumbent president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. All right, it happened to the time of Jonathan, during the administration led by Goodluck Jonathan. All right, so when it's military power, then we call it during the Obasanjo regime, during the Abubakar regime, during the late Muhammad Buhari regime. All right, so please take note of that. So during the military regime in Nigeria, all right, they were able to create more states. All right, it was the military that introduced what we call NYSC. All right, the introduction of the NYSC scheme was a scheme introduced by the Nigerian military. All right, after the civil war wars by the now this is just to encourage one law, all right, whereby somebody from the north who has never left the four walls of the north will be sent to the west, far Yoruba land to go and serve, to go and meet with people, to see how things are being done. So it's not just north. Or somebody from the east will be sent to the core north to go and know how life is like there, just to encourage oneness. All right. And there was this time whereby we all know what the civil war cost the country Nigeria. All right, but thank God the country wasn't totally destroyed to shambles. So after that, the military introduced what we call NYSC. All right. So we also have so it was also during this regime, the military regime, that the local government, all right, so we talk about NYSC actualization of the local government. Local government has existed for as long as possible, but local government wasn't seen as a full-fledged arms of the government. All right, it was more like the administrative part of government. All right, so local government now it was in the military regime that local government was given the proper seat among the organs of government. But we now have the federal, we have the state, and the local government as well. So we have that as that. Now, they also introduced what we call FESTAC. They also introduced FESTAC. Now, the other things you get from the keynote, all right, but I'm just trying to bring out a very precise one you can easily quickly touch. Now, FESTAC happens to be the Festival of Art and Culture, all right? They brought into history, all right, the celebration of art and culture in 1977. All right, it was brought to the glory of Nigeria. So, the introduction of FESTA, actualization of the local government, and the introduction of NYC scheme as well. So, we have that as that. So, in as much as they did achieve this, the regime did achieve made notable success. All right, they also have their shortcomings. All right. And what are these shortcomings? Let's talk about their shortcomings. What were these shortcomings? All right. So there was massive unemployment. Okay. There was economic crisis, ethnic and religious crisis as well. Corruption increases. All right. Embezzlement was on the high side as well. And we have that as that. Now, very quickly, before we go to today's main topic, which is corruption, let's quickly talk about the revenue allocation. Now, the political and economic nexus in revenue allocation in Nigeria, all right, can be better to be understood when one considers the what colonial and independent nature of Nigeria's economy. All right, Nigerian economy is not independent. Are we together? And we are seeing so many administrations try to fight Nigeria being a producing and not a consuming country. We all can agree to some extent that we consume more than we produce in this country. We so much depend on foreign aids. We so much depend on importation. all right, importation rather than exportation. All right, that's why the Nigerian economy is seen as a dependent. There are some countries that if they dare cut us off, we really struggle a lot. And the funniest thing is, well, a lot of things are involved though. The funniest thing is that this country is rich. You can imagine Nigeria giving Ghana lights. Ghana has celebrated how many years of steady electricity, and we that were giving other countries lights. We don't have steady lights. As we're having this flight now, as we're having this class now, no electricity. All right, currently using my lab. What are we talking about? Nigerian economy is not an independent economy. It's a dependent economy, according to what we are being told in the course material. So when we talk about revenue sharing, political considerations have highly influenced this. Political consideration has a high influence, all right, on the allocation. All right, greatly influence the economy of revenue allocation. All right, have greatly influenced the economy. All right, of revenue allocations. Now, one cannot ignore the importance of revenue in the day-to-day of running of any government, definitely. Now, the federal government to set out commission and committees to what articulate a proper revenue allocation. All right, there is a need for proper revenue allocation and make recommendations. So the federal government had to invest in creating a committee. Right now, this commission are the Philipson Commission, all right, the Chick Commission, and the Ikes Commission. All these commissions have their specific dates. Now, what are we talking about here? Because don't forget that we operate a federal system of government in Nigeria. And when we talk about federal, we have the states. All right, we have the federal, we have the state. We operate on federalism, the federal system of government. All right, and federalism is so versatile and wild that it put into consideration a whole lot of homogeneity and diversity. All right, homogeneity and diversity in culture, language, all right, and a whole lot of things. So therefore, the allocation, the revenue, and the revenue allocation in Nigeria has to be on point. So because of this reason, all right, and don't forget that political constitution also has great influence on the economy of revenue allocation. So um, in order not to be unjust or unfair about the revenue and the allocation of revenue, all right, or revenue allocation in Nigeria, the federal government has to invest in commissions, all right, three different commissions, like we have made mention of. All right, these commissions, their responsibility is to create a proper formula. Let us consider, in as much as most of the allocation is going to the federal, most allocation will go to the federal government, because federal government is more like the highest level. All right, irrespective of that, the state too must survive. The state too has a lot of projects to handle. Likewise, the local government. So which formulas can we use to share this? All right. Which formula can we use to calculate or solve the problem of revenue allocation in Nigeria? All right. So having invested in these commissions, they came about with this formula, whereby the current sharing formula. So we have the current sharing formula. All right. We have 24 and we have 20. Now, this is for federal, this is for state, and this is for local. Are we on the same page? So that is the current revenue allocation, the current formula for solving the problem of revenue allocation in Nigeria. Okay, so we have that is that. Now let's air streets, and we also have special funds. Sorry, I almost forgot. We also have special fund, which is the special fund is about 7.5%. Now when we say special fund, all right, there are some states that due to what they are producing, all right, due to what they are producing that the country is enjoying at large, they are suffering from ecological hazard or environmental hazard in the sense that, let's take for example the Niger Delta region now, a whole lot of oil is being produced from that region, and because of this, their oceans are not um, ecologically okay, all right, anymore. This is because of all these oil and gas activities. The atmosphere is being polluted, their water, all right, and everything. So for this reason, their own allocation is, all right, granted higher. They're giving more allocations compared to other states. So we have that. Now there's something called restructuring. I want to touch on that real quickly before I talk about corruption. Now when we talk about restructuring, what are we referring to? Okay, it simply means divesting, all right, divesting the central government of certain power and limiting areas of influence to such issues of fiscal policies, military defense, and national elections. Are we together? When we talk about restructuring, okay, we are simply considering the fact, we are considering the option, we are putting into consideration when we say we are simply considering the option of releasing or reducing or taking away, all right? Taking away, a means of taking away the central government, all right, or removing the central government of central powers and limiting areas of influence, all right, in order to what? Achieve a better purpose, in order to achieve a bigger picture. I'm going to explain this again properly. When we restructure, we are organizing differently. All right, we are simply doing what? Organizing differently. Okay. Now, so speaking of which, when you now organize differently, what do you intend to achieve? You want to improve the system. You want to make the system better. By restructuring, you are addressing power imbalances. All right? You are addressing power imbalances. Okay? So let's put all of this together. So basically, when we talk of restructuring, we are talking of reducing the power. So when you reduce the power of the central government, you are giving you are reducing from the power of the central government, which is the federal government, to states, giving states more power to do certain things, to take certain decisions without, all right, without interference from the federal government. So this is what we refer to as diversification, doing things differently, all right, organizing things, doing things differently, just to get a better result. Now, let's now go for today's topic. Like I said, we have already concluded with the course, so won't be taking much of the time at all. And we take what is left of the course. So by probably by Monday, I'll give us an assignment today, so we fresh course entirely. So speaking of which, we have corruption. Okay, when we talk about corruption, what are we referring to? I think I need to just a moment. No. Okay. Uh-huh. So when we talk about corruption, we are simply talking about a term that is well known, all right? A very popular term, known by many, known to all right? It's a term known by many and known to all, okay? So when we talk about corruption, what are we simply referring to? Now, When we talk about corruption, we are being particular about the act of bribery, all right, which is considered, all right, it is a consideration of personal gain, all right, which needs not to be monetary, all right. So basically, we are looking at it from a different angle here, all right. We are considering it from a different angle. Now, contemporary literature suggests three different types of definitions of corruption, all right. That is office, all right. This type of corruption, we have public office, market, and public interest centered definition. According to contemporary, according to recent literature definition, all right, we can consider corruption from three different angles. Are we together? Just a moment. We can consider corruption from three different angles. And these angles are public office, number one. Okay, we have public office as the first one. Then we have market as the second one. And the third one, interest centeredness. Now, according to Macmillan in 1978, Macmillan says public office is corrupt. All right, a public official, I beg your pardon, is corrupt if he accepts money or money's worth for doing something that he is under duty to do anyway. That is, he is under duty not to be exercised a legitimate discretion for improper reason. Now, what are we talking about? We're talking about public corruption. All right, that is the type of corruption that happens, all right, not necessarily in the office, but the corruption that is related to you being a personnel, you being um, a public official, all right, collecting money that you are being paid for. You are receiving money, all right, receiving, I don't want to use the word bribe, you are receiving money to do what the government is actually paying you for, all right. So, as an official, that is the kind of corruption that happens, which we refer to as public corruption, all right. Now, Ney in 1978 talks about corruption. He says it's a behavior which deviates from the normal duties of public role because of private regarding. Private regarding here, we are talking about your your own personal interest. All right, pecuniary or state gains or violate rules against the exercise of certain types of privilege. All right. So when we talk about corruption, now we are not being general about it. We are being particular about corruption in the public sphere. All right. Corruption as a public officer. All right. When you get entangled or get involved in behaviors, all right, that are for personal or self gain. All right. This behavior kicking against the core duty and ethics of your profession. This we refer to as corruption. Deviate from the normal duties. Behavior, let's put it this way, all right, which deviates from normal duties of public rule. Are we together? Our time is fast spent. So, when we talk about corruption, it could be in the routine, all right, course of government, all right. And some of these are, we have the fraudulent use of official stationaries, stationery that is meant for the use of certain things in the office. Now, you, because you're a staff, you packed everything, you went home and you're now selling it. All right. Payment of office visits. Before you can enter the office, then you must pay. Where is that written? Bribes paid to have compromising documents removed from files. When you pay officials, all right, to remove compromising documents from files. Payment for letter of recommendation, kickbacks for hiring. When you settle, when you make payments so that you can get hired, and so on and so forth. So, some of the solutions we can consider is, some of these officials does this because of inadequacy of their salary. So, we want to consider salary being adequate. All right. We want to consider an upright standing leader. All right. We also want to consider get into a transactional analysis. All right. Proper analysis reporting. And we have that as that. So the assignment, our time is fast spent, that we need to submit tomorrow later for our next class. All right. With not less than 200 words. All right. Give your opinion about the following. One, federalism. And okay, let's just do that. Federalism. Two, corruption. All right. And three, government. So each of these words, your definition or your thought about them will be minimum of 200 words. So I'm expecting a total of 600 words for these three. Thank you very much and do have a wonderful evening. Bye for now.